Welcome to the Miss Rolling In podcast. My name as usual is Jacob Staten, and as usual, I'm joined by JJ Armstrong. JJ, how are you?
As usual, I'm as usually good. What a great time to be a Forest fan. Fantastic. And to be alive, I'll take that, but I'm preferring being a Forest fan, so all good. How are you?
Yes, very well, thank you. Very well. Very well. We're going to start this week's podcast with a very brief discussion on the League Cup semi-finals, both legs. I think the first leg was killed when Surge's goal was disallowed, quite rightly, for being offside. It was a lovely finish. I think I said to you at the time, as soon as that ball went out wide, you knew it was going in the back of the net because that's a Surge special. I think that killed the atmosphere. I think it was one of the worst atmospheres, especially after that offside in the City ground we've seen this season. And their goal before the end of the first half was an absolute killer. Second leg, I thought the first half was absolutely fantastic. I don't think we could have asked for much more. I just think when we didn't snatch that goal in the first half to make it a real contest, a lot of people's attention shifted towards the Leeds game on the Sunday that's just gone. JJ, anything to add on that?
Yes, I gave you a brief of talk. If you wanted to talk about this game, I gave you the brief of 43 seconds, 57. So you went over your allotted time, which isn't good enough. We run a tighter ship than this on this podcast. So
as he continues to talk about it,
to anyone that is listening, I'm sorry. We're usually better than this. I'm actually extending it, which is worse. But old news. Who cares? Very proud of the team, regardless for getting into a League Cup semi-final. The home game, it was one of my favourite sessions ever in terms of drinking beer. I had a really good day. So it doesn't matter about the result. I had a great day out, and immensely proud of the team. So yeah, a lot of encouragement, I think, to take into the next part of the season.
Yeah, absolutely. That brings us into the Leeds game. On Sunday, we started off in Poets Corner as we always do. Had a couple in there, went to the Trent Navigation. We've done a vlog, so if anybody hasn't seen that, please just go to our YouTube. You'll find that in there. We've done a match day vlog. Atmosphere, absolutely fantastic. Starting 11, really, really good. Surprised at the back four. But I suppose when you consider how well Nico Williams played against United in that second leg, then it was fair enough. I think he's clearly shown partnerships in his centre back. So I think McKenna and Bolly is the new kind of second choice centre back partnership with Worrell and Felipe. So I wonder if Felipe wasn't quite match fit, so that'll come in next week or this weekend come in. But yeah, we started the game quite well. A wonderful goal from Brennan Johnson, a really smart finish. Morgan Gibbs White, ball into the box. It always looks dangerous when he's on the delivery. And then, wildly, Keylor Navas was in net for us and made, I want to say 2 or 3, possibly 4, really, really decent saves. And not just the saves, the following up, pounce on the ball. He looked like somebody who's won 3 Champions Leagues before, which was amazing. But the game itself, JJ, I'm sure you'll attest, was actually pretty rubbish. Wasn't the best thing to watch. But right now, we don't need that. We need 3 points.
Yeah, it's not how you win as long as you win, I think, really. I thought that the atmosphere was phenomenal. And it sort of carried us through the 90 minutes, slinging pelters at the Leeds fans and just having a good time. Steve Cooper once again pulls the wool over our eyes, and Morgan Gibbs White is fit, which was very surprising. It sounded like he was on his deathbed, but yeah, happy for him to be there. I think he had a fantastic game, and some of the parts of his movement where he looks like he's lost the ball, yet all of a sudden he brings it back under control and moves past his man is, quite frankly, one of the most exciting players I've ever seen in a Forest shirt to be able to do that. So it wasn't the best game. Keylor Navas made that save pretty quickly. And that, I think that settled me down quite a lot, Before the game, I wasn't too sure how it would go. I thought it might be a bit of a rubbish game, but it's really hard to predict. But I think the difference is when Keylor Navas made that early save, you felt a sense of confidence. It wasn't like you feel that confidence when you have someone like Brice Samba or Dean Henderson in net. You don't quite feel that same confidence when you've got Wayne Hennessy in net. So I think his early save settled me down and gave me a bit of confidence. And he had a fantastic debut. Obviously, he won Player of the Match in the stadium.
Yep.
Can't ask for much more than that on your full debut. No. Cracking goal. We left the ground buzzing. You know, the sun was still very much shining, or it was still bright at least. So 3 points, it's not pretty, but we got it.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, one thing I've been quite interested in since the match coming out was obviously Danilo was taken off at halftime, as was Mangala. Reading, apparently there weren't injuries. Apparently Danilo, people watching the TV and maybe in the stadium as well, was that saying that Danilo hadn't had a great first half, but I didn't see that. I'm not saying he played well. I'm just saying I didn't see that he was playing badly. Just interested in people's thoughts. If you can leave a comment or however, or reply to the tweet or anything like that. I always find perceptions of performance really interesting. I think another one is Remo Freuler, who does a lot of our dirty work, and I'm really starting to come around to the fact that he's probably been one of the best or most influential signings this season. At his imperious best again, back in holding midfield, which Danilo was occupying before. Maybe that was why Danilo hadn't played well. He was a bit further forward. So I'm just interested to see what people's takes were on Danilo's performance and why him taken off.
I thought, I didn't think he had a bad game. I think, if anything, he looked in danger of walking the tightrope with a bit of a silly challenge to get a yellow card. Yeah. We didn't need to go down to 10 men in that game. But I wouldn't particularly say he had a bad game. I think some bits that he did that I thought were quite nice. So yeah, interesting. I see a lot of potential in him. I know he's very young, but I think he's going to be a really good player for us this season. Especially once he properly gets bedded in, because I think he's been thrown into it a bit. So a lot of promising things to come in that. But with Freuler, I rarely really notice him. Yeah, you look at the stats afterwards and he's always got the most distance covered. And I think if you don't notice a player, that's a sign that they're pretty good, because they've not done anything particularly bad. Obviously, you've got players like Morgan Gibbs-White who you notice for doing good things and being flashy. But in Freuler's role, if you don't notice him and he's making the team tick like he does, I think that's good. He does what he needs to do. He gets the ball to someone good. He connects the play and he covers a lot of ground. So he is a phenomenal player.
Yeah, you absolutely need those kind of 6.5, 7 out of 10s, don't you? I'm not saying that he's that lowly rated, but I think Alex Ferguson's United teams were built on 6, 7 of those types of players with some magic sprinkled on top, and that's how they did so well. But
can I just say, speaking of the centre of midfield, you did turn to me at one point. I think it was in the vlog as well. Actually, you did turn to me and say, we're missing Ryan Yates. And now this is a very hotly contested point amongst Forest fans. A lot of Forest fans think Ryan Yates is terrible, and how can people still think they need him with the talent we've got in centre midfield. Interested to hear on the podcast, now that you're sober, why you thought that. I'm not saying it was right or wrong. I'm just interested to hear your thoughts.
No, is it more so in the big games? I think we really missed him against United. Really missed him against United. Is that he really, I'm not saying he's bad in the other games, but he really shows up in big games. His energy, the way he wins the ball back, how he gets box to box, the fact he clearly understands his limitations of playing football, so he gives the ball short, wide. He doesn't try and do too much with it. He's a really, it's a round peg and a round hole, to quote Billy Davies, situation, I think, in our midfield, which is why I think I mentioned it on maybe not the last one, maybe the one before, around do we need to replace him if he's going to be out for a while, because we're very particular midfield players right now, I feel, and it works really well, balanced really well in the three. And I just don't know if we have anyone who can do that kind of getting around people. But yeah, he's, you know, we've had really good results recently, so you can't take anything away from people who've come in, but I think as soon as he's fit, he's straight back in. And I think that Steve Cooper really values what he has to the team. I think Freuler and Yates it's them two plus another in midfield.
Interesting. I think it would be quite interesting to have Yates playing and having Felipe into the team. I think having a bit of bite and a bit of just attitude, a bit of feistiness is always useful for other teams to fear us and not enjoy playing against us. So I think at the minute we're in a lucky position. I mean, the Leeds game, I think, was probably the first time that our bench and our options off the bench, the whole team looked pretty strong as a whole.
Yes.
As the first time I looked at the bench and thought, there's actually a few different options here. So I think we're lucky that whoever does occupy that midfield three with the options we've currently got are going to be very good. And we'll always want to do people to do well in a Forest shirt, obviously. So we're very fortunate in the minute with the squad we've got.
Yeah. But if you ask me right now, in a League Cup semi-final, who do I want in the team in midfield? Ryan Yates is the first name that I say, and this comes from someone who was air quotes a Yater as well.
My three at the minute it's SCARPA, Danilo, and Freuler. I think that worked very well.
You like SCARPA, do you?
I do like SCARPA.
Well, moving into the game this weekend, we're recording on Wednesday. Today is
Wednesday.
It's Fulham away, which obviously with the home game was the disastrous 3-2 loss. Fulham are in sensational form, looking like they, a legit possibility of them getting European football, which is mind-boggling. I'm gonna go out on a limb. I'm gonna go out on an absolute limb and say I'd snatch your hand off for a draw.
Absolutely. I think Fulham away is a really tough fixture. It was last year. Great memory with the Zinkernagel goal, and we won. I think it was 1-0 last season, and it was then it was hang on a second, we might get automatic here. So great memories of Fulham away there. The reverse fixture where it was capitulation from our behalf, at the moment doesn't look too bad when you look at how Fulham are doing. They've ground out some very key results. They've drawn against Chelsea. They've beaten Chelsea. Tight games against Newcastle and Spurs. They've played well. They've played really well. So I don't think they're particularly a bad team. I would snatch head off for a draw. I think it's a good chance to get 3 points from an away fixture. Not saying that they're beatable like easily, but I think if we go there and apply ourselves with the squad we've got, we can match them. I think they are beatable and we can get at them. But it will be an interesting game. And if we do lose, look at where they are on the table. Don't take too much. Don't be too disheartened about it. But looking forward to it, really.
I think it is a high possibility this game will be another one of those ones similar to the Bournemouth game where you throw your toys out the pram and then by the end of the 90 minutes, you're actually quite happy.
I think there's a difference between the Bournemouth game and Fulham away. I think Bournemouth, we should have been doing better and we definitely should have got something. I think Fulham away, we did, I was happy at the end, but during the game I was very frustrated. Whereas Fulham away, I'm going into it the mindset of this is more difficult.
I'll make sure I take screenshots for when he throws his toys out the pram on Saturday. Everyone, don't worry.
I'll out myself. It's fine. If it happens, I'll out myself.
Well, that's it for this week's episode of the Miss Rolling In. If
Score predictions. Come on.
Score predictions. Oh, Jesus. Sorry. Yeah. 2-1 Forest.
Easy. I'm going 2-0 Forest. Clean sheet away. 2 goals. Here we go.
Wowza Rooney. There we go. Well, okay. Now it's the end of this week's podcast. Thank you for joining us on the Miss Rolling In. If you're listening for the first time, thank you for finding us. If you've come back again and again and again, God knows we love you. You Reds.
You Reds.